So morning, Lindsay, great to see you today.
Good morning.
So Lindsay, tell me a little about what you do, please. Tell me a little about your business.
So I own Born and Bred, so it's a shop in Belfast City Centre, and we have an online store as well. So we basically kind of celebrate everything that is Northern Ireland and Ireland as a whole. And we sell everything from prints to mugs to candles, to tea towels to beanies, literally kind of every product that people want, either as tourists that they want kind of a souvenir of Ireland, or it's just that people just love the sayings that we do, and it's very tongue-in-cheek products about where we live.
And how long have you done this for, Lindsay?
So I've had a retail shop now from 2014, but Born and Bred has been around from 2018 in the Belfast City Airport, and then we moved to Born and Bred and that kind of platform and format and brand into the city centre then just end of 2019.
Okay, and then I guess after the end of 2019, we all know what happened after that. So how did you cope with whenever that happened?
I think probably at the start of March, I obviously felt that customer shopping was shifting. There was a lot of fear. The city centre was already really dead. So I kind of instantly seen, the people kind of tailing off coming into the city centre. So at the start of March, I was very adamant, oh my goodness, right, people are obviously going to be starting shopping online now. And I'm sure as everybody says this, pre kind of COVID, our website was always kind of a secondary as opposed to the primary, what would be the city centre store. So it was very much then making sure that we had the best website, that when people were shopping online, because at that time we didn't know if you were going to have to close, you just didn't know what was going to happen. So I kind of put a lot of effort then into the website. I'd instantly then put up the Google marketing spend and kind of plunged more budget then into that side of it. And then during that time started develop on our own product collection, because I knew with our own product collection, we would have larger margins and then be able to sustain the business through difficult times, which it did.
Good, well done, congratulations. And what are your biggest learnings in business and in life?
I think probably the most recent learning is that when the shop closed March 2020, I realized when you don't have that channel being on the high street and you have a lot of passers-by and a lot of tourists and they're just kind of walking into your shop, the shop doesn't nearly have to have such like a strong brand, because it's just a shop that has nice things, and it was called, a treasure trove and little kind of trinkets of Ireland and stuff like that. So when you were relying on that one channel, i.e. website and social media, you realized how important your brand was, how important your message was. And the learning of that was making sure that your brand was strong and looking into why a brand's strong, what makes a brand strong, and how important then that message was. So that was what I had done a lot then in April 2020. I actually worked with Paper Jam. They were in the Belfast, I'm not too sure where they are now, to really hone in on, so brand colors, font, design assets, message, core message, and then how that ran through from the website to the social media to the packaging, what you put in the package, the sticker you put on top of your box that you were sending out. So really over the last 2 years, that was something that I've really gained a lot of insight for. And I don't think actually potentially I would have done it as quick or realized how important it was if it wasn't for the shop closing down. And I would say now, given the last 2 years of focusing on the brand, I take lead on all the marketing and the direction of the marketing, and the look and feel of the website and social media. So I think nearly the last 2 years have given me actually really strength in that area, in terms of branding. Yeah.
Excellent. And who's been the best coach you've ever had?
The best coach I've ever had. Do you know what? I know it's going to sound real head, but probably my dad.
Okay. Tell me more.
See, from a young age, my dad, so he was used to work for Ulster Tatler. So he was, and then the name of what he was has went out of my head. He's gonna kick me now. He would have kind of put all the stuff together, you know, like to print it. Oh, what's the name? I don't know. Sorry, it's really, really bad. I shouldn't have knew that. It's really going to irritate me now what that name is. Like, anyway, so he had done that, and then he had moved to ASG. And he was a graphic designer, but it was during those real early stages. You know, I would have went to his office and in the studio, you know, back in the day, and he would have had the Panto markers and the big whiteboards, and it was just like super creative, and everything was done so hands-on at the start, you know. And I think then always during that time, he was always so creative, always just doing like GCSE A-level art, because I was obviously kind of took on that creativity. He was always doing things in the house, you know. He's just really like amazing, making things, creating things. And I think he's always been like such the best influence for me, because I obviously love it too. And even now I would ask him, right, how can we make that? How can we do that? And he goes into his wee shed and figures it out, you know. So he's so super talented. And I think people that know how to make things, you know, it's actually quite so lost, because even like later on when he was still doing graphic design, you know, everything was just about software and designing it on a computer, and it lost a bit of the magic. And that's why I always love, even when I had graduated uni and I was doing a lot of photography, I actually fell out of love with it, because I spent all the time on the computer, and really what I loved to be was being in the darkroom and be really hands-on with like making. And I still love that, you know, on the studio space on the top floor here, over to the right here, not to the all these messy boxes behind me. We still like
they look very neat. They look very neat.
I have nothing to do with that. That's my staff, definitely not me. I'm messy. We still like make everything up here. We experiment, we make our prototypes, you know. So I think if I wasn't so heavily involved in the product development and creating the products, I wouldn't love it as much. That's really what my passion is just kind of starting making and creating things. Yeah, so I get that from Dad.
Brilliant, great story. And do you have any favorite quotes or sayings?
Years ago, I remember it was one of my first employers when I was like 15, you know, working in the hairdressers, and her name was Angela. And she always would have said, you know, if anybody came in like sick or something like that, she just would have said, slap a bit of lipstick on and just get out there, you know, as if kind of like, and I've actually always kind of stuck to that. I was just like, I just slap a bit of lipstick and get on with it. I think what I'm saying is you can overthink things too much, and people analyze things too much. And it's especially at the start when, you know, people are like doing, and you'll probably not agree with this, but you know, in starting, it's like people are like, I need to do business plan, and they do everything on paper. And I was going, I know, but if you actually got out there and see if somebody wanted it or not, you know, that's different. You know, you can have, you know, it's like relationships. It might look good on paper, but in reality, it just might not like work out like that way. So I just think it was always just go out and try it, you know, and sure, if it doesn't work, sure, at least you tried. And I think this slap a bit of lipstick on and just get out there is the perfect quote.
Yeah, that's a great quote from Angela back in the day. So what have you learned about yourself during your journey?
I think I've learned for myself is I've actually learned to relax a lot more than what I used to. I think when I was in my late 20s and starting it, I thought I could do everything. And then I realized in your 30s, you can't, because kids come into the mix, you're doing school runs and stuff like that. So I think I've learned to embrace the luxury, not saying the luxury, but embracing the lifestyle you're able to give yourself when you run your own business, and not feeling guilty about it. You know, maybe I would have felt like guilty about having to leave to get the kids, or having to take a day off, or not always being maybe on the shop floor, being so hands-on, you know, on the shop floor. But I realized actually, if I'm working on the business, not in the business, I'm actually be able to create that flexibility for myself. And really, you could have all the money in the world, but if you don't have the flexibility to, you know, if I want to go to yoga at 10 o'clock and then come back, or I need to pick up the kids at 2, and you go to ballet, you know, and all the stuff that comes in with family life, I think having that flexibility is amazing. And I think probably a lot of people that are maybe in employment would would envy that and crave that flexibility. So I think it's just kind of embracing that and not having that business owner guilt, which I would say is probably rife. I'm sure you would probably know.
I have encountered it before. I have encountered it
just a bit.
And what would you say, what's the biggest challenge that you face in your business at the minute?
The challenge is end of year accounts, of course, which are happening at the minute. I suppose the biggest challenge is making sure that your business is able to weather a storm, whether it be, you know, a decrease in sales. You know, you kind of look at it, right? If things are going to be difficult this next year, maybe people don't have as much, you know, kind of spending money. If your income kind of reduces by 20%, are you able to sustain it? Is there another kind of line of something you can go into to make sure that you know, cover all your costs and stuff like that? So I suppose after being in business for a couple of years and taking that time to work on the business and not in the business, you're able to kind of sit and figure out that and going, right, you have to make sure there's longevity into it. And I want longevity because I love what I do and I want to make sure that it's here for another few years. So yeah, so I think it's that it's trying to be as organized as possible and forward plan if something did happen.
Good stuff. And what would you say to anyone thinking of going into business?
Depends what business. I always think life, you know, I know it's probably something that a million people say, but I genuinely just think life's too short. And I think 8 hours a day is too long in a day to do something that you love. And I don't like the attitude of kind of just living for the weekend and, you know, waiting to clock off. I just think born and bred's an extension of me. And if you're personally invested in something and passionate about what you do, then, you know, you wake up in the morning loving going, doing what you're doing. And I think if you find yourself in a rut, even with any business or any, you know, job or something like that, I think it's your priority for that one life that you have to be proactive with that and make sure you enjoy your life. I think that's important. Yeah.
No, that's good advice. That's good advice. And look, if you started your business again, is there anything that you would do differently?
No, I don't think so. I think I've learned a lot over the times. I've made mistakes. I've made lots of good choices as well. Do you know what actually one of the bit now, maybe people don't agree with this because they don't, but my brother works for me. So he's only 18 months younger than me, David. So he's my retail manager. So he looks after all the stuff in the shop floor. And when I had obviously had the shop in the city centre and had the shop in the airport, I realised actually how, and you know yourself probably this too, you realise how difficult it is managing different teams of people, keeping 2 teams motivated. If you're there, how you kind of split your time. And because I trust David so much and he's great at what he does and his family, I think it made me probably more appreciative of David and hiring him. And that was such the right decision, even though we do have sibling tiffs on the shop floor. I'm not going to lie. And some of the staff are like, we're just going to disappear here for a while. And me and David are like, you know, and then after we hug and go, I'm sorry. But yeah, I think definitely hiring staff or hiring somebody that you know that you trust 100%, and that goes a long way, because as you go on and with increasing your business or your business becoming more successful, it's inevitable that you have to hire more staff, and people managing is difficult. I'm not going to lie, it's very difficult work. So even if you have that one person that you trust, whether it be a family member, a really good friend, or maybe you've knew somebody in the past or colleague, and you just trying to get somebody, at least that one person that you know you can trust and rely on. I think it's priceless.
Good stuff. And I know you sell a variety of fantastic products. So what would be how would you encourage people to be able to avail of the products that you sell? What's the easiest way to get to you and your products?
Normally, you know, obviously you can go on the website and then you can go into the city centre, but I think people are enjoying coming into the city centre. They're enjoying being in, going to a bar, going to a restaurant, having some food, going and shopping, looking at all the products, you know, it's a completely different experience. And I think just people are enjoying going out and mingling with, you know, just being in a busy environment and enjoying other people's company, and everybody that's coming in so happy. And, you know, it's like today, the sun shines in the city centre, and Belfast is beautiful in a day like today. So I would encourage people to just go out and come for a Saturday in Belfast and, you know, just experience, just to have a nice, you know, you could disappear in here, not this floor, but the two other floors, and just enjoy, just spending an hour meandering, as you would say, just around the shop and enjoying it and chatting to the staff, and yeah, just enjoying a nice shopping experience.
Good stuff. Yes, I would certainly encourage anyone that visits Belfast City Centre, get into Ann Street and get into Born and Bred.
Yes.
Absolutely. Like Linzi Rooney of Born and Bred Belfast, absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much for your time. It's been great to hear about you and your business. So thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay.